Hi, welcome. In this video, I'd like to talk about the issue of pack dynamics, or the issue of dogs interacting with other dogs in a way that is intended to paint a picture. And typically this follows a Cesar Millan type of approach, where using groups of dogs, you'll see trainers walking with, 6 or 7 dogs at a time, and meant to really show that these dogs are in some sort of state of balance. Now, the thing to understand about how dogs interact, and again, this even comes from this issue of the dominance issue, and right back to David Mech with his take on the dominance issue, from how wolves interact, and attempting to get some sort of a interpretation on this issue of the dominance issue through physical interaction. This is where, again, nature is very deceiving that way. Again, it doesn't reveal itself at that level relationally to what our expectations are, how we line things up or interpret this issue of strength and weakness. So again, this is why when I'm talking about these issues about what's seen from the surface of things or at the response level, is you have to filter that through. You have to be able to source that back and be able to see things a certain way relationally, and that comes really through experience too. The ability to really define what's happening at that level, be able to put it into proper context, and be able to get a better take on whether or not a dog is actually in a state of balance or within the follower role. But again, going back to this issue about the pack dynamics, this is why, again, there's certain things that can look good for optics. Okay, for say your dog is in a group of dogs, with these pack trainers, and again, that's meant to show, wow, look at that, my dog's in there interacting. It looks great how my dog's getting along with the other dogs. It even looks like it's play-based, and dogs can still hold control through those interactions, involving other dogs, because there's a difference between how it relates one-on-one with the human and lines up relationally and in certain groupings like that. And so it can be very deceiving, because again, I keep talking about this problem with this picture problem in the dog training world, where trainers immediately launch into approaching training some sort of learning-based exercise. They paint this picture up with incentivizing the dog to go into respond certain ways, and oftentimes it's a complete waste of time. It's meaningless if you're not understanding going into the process this issue related to the motives of dogs and these control issues, how to fix them. Because again, if you launch in that way, identifying the process differently than what it is, this is where dogs can hold on to control even as things are looking fantastic. And it's the same holds true. Things can look fantastic in a pack of dogs. Okay, this is why people say to me all the time, my dog's in a, gets along well with other dogs and everything looks great, looks like play, and it's contaminated. Okay, it's not what you think it is, even though you're not seeing it manifest at a dog fight level. Dogs can still gain control through those interactions, and this is an important point. Once the issue relationally has already been, the motives are already going sideways through that dog owner. Okay, so everything branches off from there. So you have to default back to what has been established or not established to the dog owner, and then start to apply context. But again, if you just piecemeal it, which means you just look at, again, this is common amongst these trainers, you just look at a dog interacting certain ways and then try to paint that up as good things are happening. Oftentimes it's not. Okay, and it's very common. Again, this is a total disconnect from what's really happening beyond just the appearance of things. So I encourage anybody who's looking at things from a superficial level to step back from it and really consider, number one, what the process is, This problem with appearance is why they're very, very deceiving. And the fact that the majority of trainers actually approach training as some sort of learning-based exercise, and will even work off certain things like these pack dynamics, these groupings of dogs for marketing purposes. And so when I do it, I do it I follow a very specific formula for a reason, making sure relational change is going to happen between the dog and the owner. If you get caught up in these optics and not understanding, the issues of control and motives, you could be caught off guard. You could see things can look a certain way and be presented to you that way, and then you're wondering what the heck's going on. I got all these issues still going on with things in the training environment, or my dog was getting along with these 10 other dogs and looked great. Don't be deceived, okay? You have to put it to the test. That's why if you walk in there into a group of dogs, I mean, everything I say you can put to the test, and put that dog on a leash and bring it under influence. And when I say influence, I mean what's reasonable, okay? That's how that is established, okay, through the leash. Dogs are holding control. You see the dog go crazy, okay? You'll see that dog flip out because it's rejecting and challenging the human at that level, saying, no, I'm in control here. It becomes a supply source. It starts to contrast off of the dog being brought under influence. That's why, again, you got to put everything to the test. But looking at certain pictures, you'll know anyway, because if you have issues that originate from that dog owner and that dog's holding control, I guarantee you start messing around like that with working off dynamics like that, it can be total deception. Okay, you have to follow a sequence. That's why the system of training, it goes by the numbers. It follows the sequence because I understand these issues very well. And if you start messing around certain ways, then one would assume that you're not understanding the process anyway, and it can create major problems for dogs and owners. So just something to think about. Thanks for watching.